Oh, wait a minute, y'all. Girl, my mother would be horrified that I don't have earrings on. Hold on one second. Okay, so this makeup has been on all day, so it's definitely on its last leg. I have like patted a bit with a sponge to take down some of the shine, but other than that, I have not touched it up at all. So I really think that it speaks to the longevity of the NARS Soft Matte Foundation. Flawless. Like, get you that foundation, okay? I also have my fan on and the air conditioner on because it's hotter than fish grease, and yeah. So I wanted to give you some info about really my perspective on the eyeshadow palettes that I used this week. I focused on Kaleidos. I have 3 of their eyeshadow palettes from their Futurism line. The reason I decided to focus on it was because I was watching Kyla Fish. I love her. She's like adorable. She's like a little niece to me. And she was talking about really liking the Kaleidos formula and some of their eyeshadow palettes. I think the one that she liked the most is Sashimi City. And that is actually one that I have. So the 3 that I have from Kaleidos, I just have 3 of their palettes. I have the Cyber Bronze palette. I also have the Sashimi City palette, and I have the Lunar Lavender palette. Now, I didn't use the Lunar Lavender palette this week, mainly because I feel like I'm always wearing pinks and purples, and this one is pretty much a purple palette. So I decided to give just that color a bit of a rest this week. But if you can see, these are the colors of the Lunar Lavender palette. So one thing is that you get an insert with the names of the eyeshadow palette. You get an insert with the names of the eyeshadows. So if you are someone that prefers to have the names like in the palette or even on the back of the palette, you're not going to get that from these palettes. It does come with this mirror, which is really nice. I think if you are using this as a mirror for your eyeshadow, like, it really just allows you to focus on the eyes. So I think that that's pretty cute. And each of these palettes that I have come with 6 shades. And you've got in this one 2 shimmers. One is kind of a duochrome. And then you've got 4 mattes. So you've got these 2 purples, and then you've got these kind of taupey brown deeper colors. So the packaging, I think it's really cute, and all 3 of the ones that I have this same packaging. So the one that I started out with this week is Sashimi City, and let me show you. Same sort of deal with the eyeshadow names on the insert, and then here is the palette itself. As you can see, these are pretty neutral colors, especially the mattes, but you do get these really pretty shimmers. So this one here is Pink Ginger, and this one here is, oh, I'm forgetting the name, Penthouse. And then you've got the 4 mattes. So as you can see, it seems like Kaleidos really does like their browns in terms of the shades that they put in here. And I'm a fan. I'm brown, you know? But if you have several of their palettes, you're going to have not necessarily the exact same shade of brown, but it's going to get a bit like redundant because they're across at least the three palettes that I have, there are browns in them. And I don't know, outside of this one, which is kind of like your really neutral palette where it is nice to have some browns, I don't know that you need to have them in every palette. So, this shade Pink Ginger, for me, it is the epitome of he's just not that into you. Because no matter how hard I tried with this shade, it was not having it. It was just not working with me, like, at all. What I did initially was I took this shade, and let me swatch it a bit so you can see it. What I don't like initially already is that I find that the shade is a bit crumbly. I'm not sure if you can see it. Like, first of all, the color is gorgeous, but one, you can't see it that much, but when you put it on the eye, it looks really good, honestly. So if you have a deeper skin tone, it looks good. It's super pretty. I wouldn't say that these shades, the shimmers especially, are a bit more like ethereal. So if you're wanting that boom pow, it's not gonna happen with this. The issue that I had with the pink ginger shade is that I put on eyeshadow primer and then I went in with that shade on a brush and kind of tapped it starting in the inner corner to most of my eyelid. And then I used a couple of the mattes to just kind of blend everything out. Now, unfortunately, the shimmer particles got in my eye. And I wear contact lenses or glasses. I go between the two. And so I did my makeup. I thought I was looking cute. I went down to work. I'm, you know, working from home. And I feel like I was like this the whole time. Because there was like... like shimmer in my eye. My patient probably thought I was winking at them the whole time, like, hey. And so what I ended up doing is I actually ended up having to take the eyeshadow off, and I was like, well, maybe I did something wrong. Let me try this again, because, you know, glutton for punishment. Fool me once, and I'm like, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Anyway, so I went ahead and this time I put the mattes down first and then I tapped the shimmer onto my eyelid, and I still had a very similar experience. And also I had taken my contacts out, put them in a little contact case, set them in the solution for a while, and, you know, rinse them off with the solution, everything. So I was just trying to like start super duper from you know, a clean, fresh start. And I just did not get on with this shade, absolutely at all. So of course the next day I'm still using this palette because I apparently don't learn my lesson the first time. And I had a similar experience, so I don't know if it is just like this shade and I are just not meant to be or something, but I was really trying to make it work. I don't know if I need an even stickier base, but I'm pretty sure I used my Makeup by Mario eyeshadow prep and set, but I do know that I also used my NYX, here it is, Proof It, and this will make your eyeshadow like not budge. So for some reason, just me and this shade, we're just not having a good old time. Like, we have just agreed to not even be friends. I do like the mattes in the palette, especially these deeper ones. Like, I love that they show up on my skin tone. Oops, didn't mean to bump that. So you've got this one here, and then you've got this one here. Like, I really like these browns, and there are 4 of them, so there's like a nice gradient in terms of the shade of the browns or the neutral shades. But I really wish that I had gotten on a bit better with the shimmer. If I didn't mention, that shimmer is called Pink Ginger. I did try the Penthouse shade a little bit, but you know, after 2 days, I was just like, all right, I got the message. So I ended up liking the Cyber Bronze palette more than the Sashimi City. Now this one has this same packaging, and you have the insert there that is super annoying. I'm gonna take that out. But this shade here is the one that I was immediately drawn to. This one is called Infrared, and the one next to it is called Quantum, if I'm not mistaken. I think I remembered that correctly. Yeah. And then this one here, the silver, is called Plasma. Now again, you've got these like neutrally reddish brown, cool tone brown, like mustardy, brownish Dijon mustard kind of colors, which I'm guessing that Kaleidos likes to anchor their palettes with these browns. But again, I don't know that you need them all the time everywhere, especially since this is called the Cyber Bronze palette. I'm like, just looking at these 2 colors are the ones that stand out to me that has some sort of like bronzy thing going on. Now, out of this palette, the shade that I did like the most is this Infrared. I find that this shimmer is different from the Pink Ginger in the Sashimi City, and it could just be, I don't know, me, but I find that this one seems a bit smoother and not as crumbly. Well, even if you look at this one here, which is the Quantum shade, I find that that's a bit crumbly too. But these 2, Infrared and Plasma, I don't experience those. I experience those as smoother. So So I rubbed my finger across the infrared, and you can still see that it's like still pressed into the pan, not much fallout or anything coming up. But let me go ahead and press into Quantum. And you can sort of see that it has like some particles on there, so it's not as much of a smooth swatch. So here are these swatches. They're very pretty shades, and I do find that they're a bit smoother than the Pink Ginger in the Shasini City palette. Let me swatch that one again. And this just feels rougher. Although the shade is still, it's like gorgeous. So it's like one of those things where you're like, you know, you look good together on paper, you think it's gonna work out, and you can't understand why it's not working. And yeah, that is me and the Kaleidos shimmers. Not so much the infrared and the Quantum in the Cyber Bronze palette, but the other ones, it's just like, I kept trying to make it work. Child, it was not having it. So I want to know if you have these shades, or I'm sorry, if you have these palettes, let me know your experience. The other thing is with the mattes, they're all pretty consistent, and I will say that they are very pigmented and they are very powdery. I'm looking for a brush to show you. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap into this shade here, which is one of the mattes, and hopefully you can see as you tap into it, a lot of shadow kind of comes up. So you will need to tap your brush off a bit to get that excess powder off. So they're very, very pigmented and very, very powdery. So I would say that these are kind of messy palettes. You're gonna get some cute looks, especially if you can make the shimmers work for you. And the mattes are just, they blend out very well. The mattes are probably my favorite ones in the palettes. And the only thing is, like, I don't need this many like brown mattes. So if you can see, you've got like 3 at the top, then you've got 4 at the bottom. I have enough. Right? Overall, they're okay. Wasn't blown away. And that's because of just struggling with some of the shimmers. I used brushes, I used my fingers, and I think the formula and I just don't get on very well. And also I found that I just have shimmer everywhere. So yeah, not a fan of that. So I'm guessing that I like shimmers that are a bit more like pressed into the pan as opposed to these that are a bit crumblier. And again, maybe that's me, maybe that's my experience, maybe that's my palette, you know, user error. It just could be an off week for makeup for me. But I did do this eye look with the Cyber Bronze palette. I don't think that this eye look is something that I couldn't get from another palette. I think I could easily find similar colors, because the other thing is, even though this color, this shade looks super like bright and pigmented in the pan, I don't know that it translates as like boom pow on my eye, right? So if you do like more of a muted, like instead of a boom pow, just like a boom, then you're probably gonna like these a bit more than I did. Yeah, just not like, it was a little disappointing. Let me know if you have these palettes and how you like them, or if you have other Kaleidos palettes that you really like, because I know that people love these palettes. And I love the packaging. I think it's really cute. I really like the color stories, sans, like without all the browns. And yeah, that's just been my experience. Hope this helps, and I will see you next time.